Hi guys, welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to another First Division review video. As usual, Phil Warner's here with me today. Phil, enjoying the day. It's Father's Day today, by the way, in case you're wondering, guys.
Yeah. I'm not celebrating the day, thankfully, because it's nothing to do with me. But it's enjoying the sunshine. Like it's a nice day of the year. So
Exactly. Everything comes together, I suppose. We'll start off with the Carlisle grounds, and I think there was plenty of sunshine at the Carlisle grounds on Friday's. Bray beat UCD 4-0. Craven, Clifford penalty, Doyle with 2 goals. This one surprised me. I'm not surprised Bray won, to be honest with you, because this is the First Division, but 4-0 was a massive result. I think you said in the preview show, you were talking about UCD at one point in the preview show, and you'd mentioned how suddenly they started to concede more goals in the last few weeks, and 4 in this game is dreadful. I heard it was Bray's best performance of the season, which wouldn't be a surprise if you hear that. Bray suddenly 2 points behind UCD. I think that's 3 defeats, 5 for UCD, and they were unbeaten before that, certainly 2 in a row. Massive result for Bray, but dreadful really for UCD, isn't it?
yeah, of course, yeah. Like I suppose Cobh, Shells, and now Bray do them as well. But Bray done them comfortably. Like, let's be honest, as we said before, Keith, it was like the UCD of 3 or 4 years ago, conceding 4, scoring 4, but
even last year.
Didn't look. Yeah, true. Yeah, they didn't look anything like they have since the start of the season. I don't know. It seems to all have fallen apart, which is very strange. Like, because I suppose, as I said previously, I fancied them for the league. Like, but that's a foregone conclusion now. That's well out the window. But I suppose you can only give credit to Bray. Like, do you know what I mean? They look like they're really starting to build something there towards their season. Like, they're not going to win the league. They're in the promotion spots now, I believe. So they will stay there. I suppose the thing for them now is just getting a bit of a gap between them and the rest of the teams around them. And I suppose a good result against UCD done that, brought them a bit closer to them. And I suppose you can just only question UCD, but you can only give credit to Bray.
I think UCD are suffering from what everyone else in the league has suffered from, Shelbourne aside, where they lose one game, they go on a wobble, don't they?
Yeah, oh Jesus, yeah, it's like
every team has done that, haven't they?
Yeah, and it's weird, like, because when you look back at the games, it's not teams feeling sorry for themselves. It's just they can't seem to get pick themselves back up from being beat the week before. And I suppose, like, we talk about Shells later on, like they were pretty comfortable, even though they only won 1-0. But like, anyone else around them just is crumbling, like, and it just seems to be that no one can sort themselves out. So Bray, you can only give credit to, but I'm sure that they'll have a couple of mixed results before the end of the season as well. But UCD need to kind of give themselves a kick up the arse now and get themselves in gear, because like they can't keep playing like that every week, otherwise they'll be in trouble. They'll still make the playoffs, but they won't do themselves any justice with performances like that.
For Bray, it's all about trying to back it up now, because we've seen teams obviously win 4-0 or whatever in this league. The next week, they just flop. And I'm not sure who they're playing the next week, but we'll obviously talk about that later in the preview show later in the week. But it's important for them to try and do that. Like, consistency is so difficult for teams, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and like, I suppose it's just goes to show, Keith, the competitiveness of the First Division. Like, it is like any team can turn up on any given day and beat any team. Like, I mean, we've seen that with Wexford already this season, and other teams as well towards the bottom of the table. Anyone can put in a good performance and get a result, and I suppose, like, that's what just makes it so entertaining. I know the league is we keep saying it, but I'm pretty sure the league is wrapped up now. 8 points clear, Shells are, but like, in terms of those little promotion spots, like for the playoff rather, it's going to be very, very interesting. I suppose it's something that everyone's going to want to keep an eye on, because it's going to be fascinating how it turns out with teams losing one week, losing 1 week and winning the next. It's just going to be chop and change towards the end of the season, which is obviously something that we're all looking forward to.
Yeah, on to Athlone. I finished Athlone 10-0, Cork City 2. I don't think we've seen this coming, even though Athlone have been in bad form. But nothing against Athlone or anything, but I'm kind of delighted to be actually talking about Cork in terms of winning a match and actually putting in a performance, because you do get... I mean, when you're criticising a team every week, Philip, you feel like, you know what I mean, that people might think, oh, you don't like this team, you don't like this club or whatever. But that's not the case at all with Cork City. Like, I'm absolutely delighted. Again, nothing against Athlone. They've a few players injured at the moment. They just need to, I don't know what it is, but get back to basics. I did say a few weeks ago that they're starting to concede too many, and now suddenly they're not getting the goals, which were flying in. So everything's going wrong for them at the moment. Cork City, clean sheet. Defensively, weirdly, I've said it before, they haven't been bad this season. Conceded 12 goals all season. It's the third best defensive record in the league, even though they're 8th. But they'd be delighted to get the 2-0 win here. Very good result for them. And, they're 5 points off 6th.
I suppose with a result like that, don't rule them out. And I suppose if you look at it, Keith, 2 teams in the top 6 have lost this weekend, and that just goes to show if Cork are able to get a couple of results on the bounce with other teams dropping points around them, as seems to be the case, there's no reason why they can't get into that little spot, that 6th spot. Like, do you know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, I don't see it happening. But saying that, I'm actually delighted for Cork. I'm actually not delighted for Cork. I'm delighted for Cork fans. Do you know what I mean? Getting to see their team go out and get a result. Like, it's nice to, as you said, it's not nice to sit here and slate a club on the internet at all. Like, it's just not my thing unless it's Bows. Obviously delighted for Cork fans, and it's hopefully something they can build on, because we've seen this before. They have got a result and then the next week it's just completely back to square one, and that's something that they won't want to happen. But I've seen the manager's interview before the game this week. Yeah, Conhe's interviewed it before this week, and it was nearly like a cry and a rally for the players to step up, and he got a response. It's clear to see, and I suppose, like, with all those Cork City fans, they're all so passionate about their club. Like, the fans coming back, although it wasn't great last week with what had went on, but you can only see that being a stepping stone now. It's something that gives these Cork supporters something to build on. They'll go in now next week saying, do you know what? We've got a result last week. Let's build on it. And they'll get right behind their club, because they are great supporters. Like, so, yeah, it's obviously great for Cork. Athlone, on the other hand, as we said previously, they can't seem, they're really struggling to buy a win at this stage now. Like, 5 wins all season, is it, Keith?
5 wins all season. They won their first 4 games.
Yeah.
One win in 11. Or 1 win, sorry, what am I talking about? 1 win in 8, yeah.
Yeah, which is not really great. As we said before, it was kind of expected, but we don't think we expected the wheels to come off in the fashion that they have. Again, they're not conceding too many goals, but they are, like, as we say, they're not scoring now. Chances have dried up, and it's a big concern if you were an Athlone Town supporter. Look, I suppose they can only turn around and try pick themselves up, as many clubs in the division have had to do so far. I've said it already, but they have to do it because, as we said, other teams around them are starting to now pick up points, and that's not a good thing for Athlone, because at the end of the day, the position they were in after 5 or 6 games, you were kind of saying they'll get a promotion spot. And I'd probably say at this stage, they may still do that, but you can't keep conceding and losing games week in, week out, because there's no way you can get into a playoff spot if that's the case.
I know they've a couple of injuries as well, but other clubs get injuries as well, that kind of way. Like, they've really gone from there to there. So it's disappointing for them. But, I mean, they're trying to build something ultimately there. And probably that good start probably has done them no favours in many ways, So if you compare them to last year, still, it's night and day. At the very least, in general, they're going to be competitive and get results. So,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Moving on to Galway, and they had a great win, Philip, against Cabinteely, 1-0. Warahu, I think, with the goal.
Yeah, I've seen that. I didn't even
South African. So
I didn't even try to pronounce it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Galway people would be able to pronounce it either. But I do know the player, funnily enough. I do know the player, midfielder, attacking midfielder. But good win for Galway, because we talked about last week how they need to kind of put back-to-back wins together, no matter how they did it. And, they're up to 4th suddenly now, 19 points, 3 points off Treaty. I don't think there's any chance they won't get into the playoffs, but, they'd be delighted that they've improved their position in the last few weeks, I suppose. Cabinteely, still 5th. They're still in there, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of, I think everything's stalled for Cobh at the minute. But Galway, look, they can only be delighted with where they've got it now. I think we discussed it before, Keith, previously as well, that we kind of were a bit concerned that they weren't really stepping up to the plate with the squad that they had. But I think now is a good reflection on where they should be. Personally, I think they should be in those spots, but I don't think they're good enough to challenge for the league. that's just my personal opinion. Other people may differ on it, but they're quietly confident now about going about securing that spot. I to be honest with you, over the past couple of weeks, seeing the results and how it's gone, they're one of the stronger candidates to finish in the playoff spots. So I would only see that as a good thing. As I just said, Cobh, it's completely stalled. Again, just didn't look like they were able to score. And that's obviously a big issue now as well, because like when they're in games that are tight and cagey over the past couple of weeks, I suppose they haven't been able to get the result, and that's something that you would be a bit concerned about. You said they're fifth now, are they?
They're fifth. The funny thing is with them, Philip, they don't draw any matches. I mean that literally, they haven't drawn all season. So it's a win-lose thing. And when the other teams are very up and down, consistent in terms of the consistency, if you can win and lose type thing, you will be in the playoffs. That's the funny thing, because they're picking up 3 points every 2 weeks.
Exactly, yeah. And I suppose it makes for good entertainment as well to know that you're not going to watch a draw. Look, I suppose Cobh can only... who they've lost this is since last season. I suppose they probably around where they are now. I think they might have expected a couple of more results to go their way, but again, they're in there, and probably one of the sides that will finish there as well, as we just said. So they just need to look for a reaction now next week, because you don't want to be losing too many games on the bounce.
I think with Galway it's interesting, because let's talk about Galway doing a bit of business in the window. It's a tough one. I don't think they're going to win the league. I think even if they don't do business, they're finishing the playoffs. It doesn't really matter where you finish in the playoffs. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. It doesn't matter where you finish the playoffs. Sorry, once you get into the playoffs. But I think maybe they're thinking that they need to be stronger in terms of maybe winning the playoffs, you see, and coming up against a 9th place team in the Premier. But it's a tough balancing act, I think, that way for them, isn't it?
Yeah, and like it's a fine line to getting it right, to be honest with you. I think if we just go off it now, and I believe Longford are 9th, so like I couldn't see Galway beating Longford now at this current moment in time. Longford haven't been excellent, let's be honest, they haven't been great, but I just think that the way they came up last year, the way they beat teams in the first division, I just think they had that little bit extra when it came to it at the end. So obviously things have changed. A couple of new bodies have come in for Longford, but yeah, Galway would be, I'd say probably won't do much business. They might get 1 or 2 bodies to keep, but that probably just to coincide with injuries as well that they might pick up as well towards the end of the season, which is something that they'll need to factor in. It's nearly a flip of the coin with them. Like, you know what I mean? As we said before, sometimes they can turn up and just be dreadful. Sometimes they're brilliant. And I suppose at the minute they're kind of going the right direction, which is only good for them. And look, I suppose only time will tell whether they're good enough to beat a team that's in 9th place.
Absolutely. Finished Wexford nil, Shelbourne 1. Georgie Poynton penalty after 30 minutes. And it's a strange one. Wexford obviously bottom of the table in 3 points, Shelbourne on 30, but played twice this season and 2 very narrow wins for Shelbourne there.
I don't know if I called this 1-0 or not. I was just kind of thinking about it, but I did think
you definitely said tight for Shelbourne. Yeah. I said more comfortable, but I was wrong.
I don't think it was a game where they were terrible. I just think that Wexford kind of stepped up on the occasion. Like, I mean, top of the table, big game down there. And kind of kept an eye on the Irish Football Fan TV. Your man Neil Keane, whatever his name is, was down there. He was watching the game, and he said it was very back and forwards, and there was chances. Ultimately, in the end, Wexford just didn't show that experience that Shells had, and that's what got them through. They did create chances, apparently, Wexford, so like they were in the game. And look, I suppose it's, even though they lost, it's a good result. Do you know what I mean? Shells have been blowing teams away the past few weeks. So I think they will take something from this. And I suppose as for Shells, another 3 points, like they can't do anything else other than that. And I suppose they'll look forward now to next week and keeping this big, good run going, because they don't look like stopping anytime soon, And I suppose if you're a Shells fan, you can only just keep enjoying it while it lasts. I keep saying that, but just keep enjoying it. Wexford will look to keep this momentum going of putting in good performances, because the past couple of weeks they have been, and Yeah, I'm not sure who they're playing next week, but the way they played there, apparently, on against Shells, would only give them optimism as they can go get a result maybe next week.
Well, the last 3 games, they won one, obviously beaten narrowly by Treaty, who we'll talk about in a minute on the flying, and beaten narrowly by Shelbourne. So they've got to be happy with that overall in the whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
On to Cobh Ramblers and Treaty United. Philip finished Cobh 0 Treaty 2. 2 G's in this game. Was 46, so we're in 89. But I was talking to somebody who was actually at the game, and they said Treaty are so well organised, it's unbelievable. Tommy Barrett, they can't believe what a job he's done there. They're second in the league now, 8 points behind Shelbourne, 3 ahead of UCD. They've actually really snuck up there. I'm running out of superlatives for them early doors, Philip, here, because I keep saying, can they keep it going? Can they keep it going? But you can only talk about what they've done so far, and they've been absolutely excellent so far for a new team, to come in and get all those players together. And look, don't get me wrong, I think there's teams in the league with more talented individuals than Treaty. I do think they've good players, but clearly Tommy Barrett's done an unbelievable job there so far. Great result, not easy to go to Cobh and get a win either.
Yeah, and look, we've seen teams go down to Cobh and struggle. As you said, Treaty very well organised, which is something that a lot of teams, bar Shells, have been struggling to be over the past few weeks. So, yeah, no, they'll only look at it and take the positives out of the game. As we said before, Keith, if you offered them this position at the start of the season, they'd have said, what drugs are you taking? Because I don't think that, I thought they probably, at best, would have got 6th. I thought they were probably aiming for in and around that, a new club put together off the back of a couple of weeks at best. So, yeah, they're doing a fantastic job. No, they don't have a lot of stars in the division, but they've got a team that are putting in performances week in, week out, and sure, that's all you can ask for. And the results, if you tend to put those in, results tend to follow.
Actually, they can compete against anyone in the league, to be fair. I wonder if would they be tempted to bring in a player or two, but then again, you're thinking team cohesion. You don't want to ruin that either. So it's a difficult one. They wouldn't have the budget, let's be honest, either. Cobh as well. Cobh have been on form coming into this game in the back of 2 wins. Yeah. So to go there and get a result is brilliant for them as well.
Yeah, and I suppose Cobh have done well the last few weeks, as we've just said. But it's the type of football that they're playing as well. If you go and look back on them, they do actually really try to bring a proper game of football. It's not just sitting back and trying to counter-attack. They do try to play a bit of football, which is nice to see as well. A couple of young lads as well, which I think probably will move on at the end of the season. Yeah. There's a one lad that you said had a couple of goals there in the past few weeks. I'm trying to think of his name.
Jake Hegarty there, but I think Lyons, the centre-back, is very strong as well. They could have used him last season. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to him after this season, let's say. But Lyons is very good as well, yeah. Yeah,
to be honest with you, Keith, they are a good side, but saying that, I don't know if they will finish in the playoffs. I don't think you'd agree with that, would you? They probably won't have enough just to make it.
I don't think they have enough. No, don't think they have enough. They brought in a lot of players in fairness in the Munster Senior League, and they can take time to adapt even if they're good players. It's not easy, to adapt to the first division. They lost Dave Hurley last year as well, who was key in the middle of the park for them. He was excellent in the middle of the park for them last season. He's gone to Galway as well, so I think he's a big blow. But it's a case of Cobh trying to, I suppose, keep on to the good players for as long as they can. And when they lose them, that they do have players coming through, because they do an awful lot of good work down there as well. And they are a good side, to be fair. Probably just fall short from the playoffs, you'd imagine, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think so, Keith. It would be nice to see them in there, because at the end of the day, as you said, they are doing things right down there, and it looks like there's, I don't know, but I'd say there's a lot of good people down there running that club, because they do tend to go about their business quietly, and sometimes they do step up and provide shocks throughout the season and beat big teams, which is nice to see as well. They're not just a club like a Wexford that are getting beat week in, week out, with all due respect, So yeah, no, I'd say they'll just miss out, Keith. But again, never rule anyone out in this division, especially with the way results go each week. So I suppose Cobh fans will keep their fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely, Philip. Look, we'll leave it there. Cheers, Philip, for coming on. Fair play to you.
Thanks, Keith.
Lovely stuff. Guys, subscribe to the channel, hit your bell notification button so you don't miss a video, and like the video, and make sure you comment below. Thanks very much, lads. Thanks for watching. Cheers.